Everyone. Happy New Year.
It is a happy new year. And Levi got his new couch.
Yes, Levi got a couch for Christmas, which is very exciting.
He's back there very happy now.
He got bigger gifts than either one of us. So that's just...
He doesn't have any thumbs.
He has no thumbs. But a couple of important announcements. First of all, Strides is officially open for enrollment, but Sunday is the last day. So if you want to join Strides, you've got to enroll by Sunday. Also, if you haven't had a chance to watch the goal setting webinar from Sunday, be sure to watch that before next Sunday because the replay is only available through Sunday. The link to watch the replay should be above or below this video. Tonight, we're going to be talking about goals. We're going to be talking about 2024, some of the plans and things that we have coming up in the year ahead. We're going to be talking about Strides. We're going to be talking about why online training works. We have lots of things to talk about tonight. First of all, goal setting. Why is it important to have goals and set big, exciting goals?
So that you can achieve your dreams.
Yes.
But it's always so difficult. You ask me what my goals are, and I don't ever want to say.
But that's okay because, see, I definitely think that there's something to be said about keeping your goals a little bit more private, because a lot of people that say their goals all the time to everyone, then they never work at them, right? Maybe, I mean, you could share your goals with me, but I don't know that going down, if I go down the street and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to the Olympics. And if I just say that to everyone, it becomes a little less believable. I think it's have your big goals, work at them really, really hard, and share them with people that are important to you and that you know are going to kind of hold you accountable to them. That's my advice.
Okay.
Maybe you'll share with me your goals later.
Okay.
But with this goal setting worksheet, so I definitely recommend printing it, filling it out. I will have someone from my team put it in the chat, or I'll put it in the chat. But basically, you have your BHAG. That's your big, hairy, audacious goal. Should be very exciting for you. And then you break it down into key results. So you don't even know what my key results are.
You're right. I missed the thing.
Okay, so I'll say the key result. You say why it's important. Number one, consistency.
Say that again?
Okay, a key result is the actionable steps that you're going to take to reach your goal.
Okay.
So number one, consistency. How many days a week are you going to ride? How many days a week are you going to the barn?
Gotcha. Okay.
Why is consistency important?
Because without it, it's never going to happen.
Yes.
You just...
Okay.
It's just that simple.
Yes. For those of you guys that are watching live, let me know if you've written down your goals and if you want to share your goals, what they might be. Okay. The second key result is rider position. I filled this out for Luigi.
Okay. So key result, and that's what?
So a key result is something that's actionable and measurable. So if your BHAG is I'm going to go to the Olympics, the key result is what are you going to do this week, this month to get to the Olympics?
Right. So but when you call it a key result, it's not the result of what you did then.
It's things that you're going to do.
Okay.
To get the result. Things that you will do to get the result.
All right.
Okay. Rider position.
So what's the question then about the rider position?
Why is it important to focus on your rider position?
So that you can communicate effectively with your horse. Because how could you can't tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Only the rider in the correct position can give the correct aid. So if you don't have a position, then you give bad aids and your horse can't do what you're asking.
Exactly. Now you understand. But it's important if
I'm
your
lost
goal...
with how that action is a result.
So you have to just get over it. They're called key results.
Right. Okay.
They're things that you're going to do to get the result you want.
Okay.
They're key things that you need to do in order to achieve your goal.
Yes.
Okay. Next one is the basics or the training scale.
So why is that important?
Yeah.
Because you have to have a plan.
Yes. The training scale gives you a plan.
It's problem solving and such when things arise.
Yes. Okay. So anyways, get the worksheet, fill it out.
Don't listen to me
It's
and the key
there in
results.
the chat. The other thing that I talked about on Sunday, which you'll be in accordance with this, is about failure. And I think it's really important to know that when you set a goal, when you set a big goal, you're going to have failures along the way. Like you're going to have roadblocks, you're going to have things that come up. And so it's really important to be prepared for that and just not get too like overly emotional or crushed when you have a failure, because that's part of it. If you don't have goals, you're not going to fail. If you do have goals, you're going to fail. Agreed?
That is a fact.
And you were teaching someone today, and you were talking about the importance of like, even in a ride, having like experimenting, right? Like, what do you say? You always say like, try it, put too much leg on.
Oh, right. Yeah. You're going to have experiences because good decisions are based on experience and experience is based on bad decisions.
Yeah.
So you do too much, you do too little. It's Goldilocks. This bed's too hard. This one's too soft. Oh, look, there's the right one.
Yeah.
And then you own that feeling, and that feeling then becomes yours.
Yeah. And you learn from it. So I think
then you have it and you can use it on any horse.
Yeah. A lot of times what we observe with our students is that they're kind of like paralyzed up there with fear of messing up. You know, in your ride, you're like, well, I don't want to do it wrong, so I'm just not going to do anything.
And in the absence of your leadership, nothing goes well.
Exactly. So even
and I tell students that too. Like if they don't do the wrong thing, I can't help them.
Yeah.
Like I can't change what's not happening. Something has to be happening so that I can say, yes, that's good, or no, that isn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's just super important to be prepared for that you're going to have you're going to mess up. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. Obstacles are going to come along in your path, and you have to just like keep going through them. It's funny because when I was like getting ready to do the goal setting webinar, I was trying to think of like, God, like what are my failures? And I've had so many failures, but you just go past them. Like you feel sad and then you move on. You can't dwell on
them. Hold on to it.
Yeah. So let's see who put their goals in here.
So, well, right here, that's what Strides actually is for. This one.
Oh, Mary says, nobody at my barn rides. I'm always in the arena alone. Any tips to stay motivated? Yes, join Strides.
That's why it's, community, education, camaraderie.
Support. Yes.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that you all should write down your goals. And then the hard part is staying motivated to work towards your goals, because you write down your goals, you're like super excited. It's the beginning of the new year. And then
it's Sunday and you want to take a nap.
Right. It's cold. It's dark. You're afraid. You had your first failure, and that's where Strides come in. So Strides is about giving you that motivation, giving you community, giving you support.
Because everybody's in the same boat. Everyone wants to ride better than they are. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And so there's a group of people doing just what you're doing.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to try to show you a little sneak peek. Hopefully I can work this about what is coming up inside of Strides. Okay, awesome. I think you can all see. So this is our plan inside of Strides for 2024. And that's probably the best part of Strides, is that we are planning your curriculum and your year for you. So you don't have to come up with it on your own. So basically start at the bottom of that staircase, go to the top, and those are the topics for the year. Obviously it's January. So this month's topic is rider mindset. Why is that important?
Why is the rider mindset important?
Yes.
Oh, because that just sets the tone for everything.
Yes.
If you say you can or you say you can't, you're right.
Yes, absolutely. So having a positive mindset, being in control of your thoughts and your emotions literally changes everything. And it's not easy to do. I think it's something that I know you and I both work on and are aware of our mindset when we're riding
When I'm riding,
and in life in general.
Well, maybe not so much.
No,
there.
you work on it. So it's definitely important. We have a guest speaker coming in this month as well to Stride. She's doing a seminar on nervous system co-regulation, which I'm super excited about. And yeah, that's the first topic. So the way Strides works is that at the beginning of the month, there is a new set of exercises. So like for rider mindset, this month, there's some groundwork exercises. There's some exercises about dealing with different temperaments of horses. Like if you have a hot horse or a lazy horse.
Spooky horse.
Yeah, because your mindset has to be a little different based on your horse's temperament. Then we have a lecture. So I'm going to be doing a lecture all about rider mindset, sharing some of the tips and tricks that I use, like for shows, for day-to-day riding. And then there's video reviews where you can send in your videos. Okay, so that's January. February, what's February's topic? You were studying it earlier. I printed out a cheat sheet for him.
Oh, February, demystifying the inside leg to the outside rein.
Why is that the secret to life when riding?
Oh, I know. I have that Snoopy and Charlie Brown. I've got to bring that up. We've got to post that. Because it unlocks your horse. It gives you the access into the rib cage, and then it allows the energy to travel from back to front because they don't have this blockage right in the middle.
Yes. I would also argue that inside leg to outside rein, it gets your horse mentally more focused. And
they're not so defensive. They're more submissive. They're just more relaxed because they don't have that tension in their body holding going, oh my God.
And they're also focusing on the inside of the arena instead of on the outside of the arena. Which is very important.
I like that a lot when they're looking at their work and not what could distract them from the work.
Yes. Then the next topic is for March, straightness. Why is straightness important?
Because everything we do has to be straight.
Yes, he was actually helping me with Luigi on that today, getting him straight and aligned, and then everything gets easier.
Right. Once we got the alignment, pole in front of the shoulder in front of the haunches, then your horse started to move more through. He could sit. He's working more efficiently. Everything's just easier. The locomotion is easier because he's balanced in all four corners.
Yes.
So.
And then April, cones and cavaletti.
Yay for cones. I love my cones. Because the cones are so, all you have to do is, it's like point and shoot, right? And you go, okay, that's wrong. And your body will naturally try to do something to get you there. And then you get the feel and you can get the shoulder and things start to move. And it becomes a lot less esoteric and very, oh, look, it's very just meat and potatoes, simple. It happened. I felt it. I can add this to my tool bag.
Yeah. So I know someone during the webinar on Sunday, someone asked, they were like, can I join Strides if I don't have a dressage court? And yes, absolutely. We have a lot of students in Strides that ride like out in fields.
In their front yard, in their backyard.
Yeah.
We had that one girl that rides in the driveway. Her dad had that construction company or something. And like the side of the parking lot was flat and level and she rode there. I mean, it's amazing what everybody's been doing.
But the cones are a really great thing if you don't have a dressage court. Like set out some cones or even like ride around a tree, like use natural markers. But that's a really good way to get your horse focused, to get your horse on the aids.
And the rider to be focused too. Instead of staring at the horse's head and just using the reins, you look where you're going.
Yes.
So I mention that because it happens a lot where riders are just staring at the top of the horse's head.
Okay, so let us know if you're watching live. Type in the chat which of these topics sounds most exciting to you this year. In May, we're doing a sitting trot challenge. I think that's going to be fun. One of the benefits to Strides is that you get automatic enrollment into the challenges that we do. So we're going to do one in May. We're going to do another one in September, although we haven't decided yet what challenge we're doing in September. So that's a mystery. But sitting trot, again, it's super important. If you want to compete above second level, you have to sit the trot. Why is sitting trot important? Like, why do we sit the trot?
Oh, because it's easier to influence our horses.
Yes. And to feel our horses.
We become more like the centaur because we're connected to them and not, up on top.
Yeah.
We're in them.
Yes. Okay, so let's see. Hannah's excited about bend. Barrel racing is excited about sitting trot. Hannah's excited about timing of the aids. So yeah, we have a lot of exciting topics in Strides. And we also, every month, when we give out the exercises, we have beginner, intermediate, advanced, and groundwork. So Strides is for riders of all different levels. We focus a lot on the basics because even if you're riding FEI, the majority of your time is still spent on the basics. But we also have some more advanced exercises if you're doing the FEI. So that's just kind of
and you're not alone because there's the office hours.
Yes. So that brings us to the second point of Strides, which is office hours. What are office hours if they're not sure?
People send in, a couple, 3 minutes of a video, and in a group setting, we go through those videos, and so everybody watches and everybody learns from everybody else. It's like auditing a lesson.
Yeah, and it actually works really well. So in some ways, I feel like it's better than being in an in-person lesson, and the reason is because of the visual side of it. Because you're seeing it, you're watching yourself ride. You're listening to Herman or I or one of our other coaches coach you through, like, here's what you need to improve on. And then you can go, once you see it, you can fix it. So I think that it's amazing that online training works. And in some ways, I think it works better than in-person training. Would you agree?
Some parts of it certainly work better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't hold their hands and move them and mind the horses like I do. But there's also just the necessity, right?
Yeah.
You guys are on your own and you see the thing and then you go back and you play with it a little bit and it makes more questions. So there's a different mental involvement that way.
Yeah. But that's one of the big advantages to Strides and to the online stuff is the accessibility of it, that you can access it when it's convenient to you, when you have time. You don't have to trailer 3 hours to get a decent lesson. And so, yeah, I really enjoy doing the video reviews to see you and your horse and be able to give you that one-on-one feedback, because that's really important. Every horse is just a little bit different. So you follow a formula, you follow the training scale, but then sometimes you do need that one-on-one touch where it's like, oh, like you need to ride more forward. You need to make your horse rounder. Your horse is completely crooked. Like you just don't realize that stuff until someone tells it to you.
We're lucky because we have each other.
Yes.
I tell that story all the time. So I'm riding my horse and it's trotting along and I'm feeling really good. I'm like, wow, this is it. I have the feeling this is going great. And Amelia was walking by because she was putting a horse out in a turnout. She looks over at me and she shouts, "Why do you let him trot like that?" And so obviously it did not look nearly as good as it felt. So, yeah. And that's what happens, right? It's you got to be smarter than your horse, and it's just not that easy. So having eyes on the ground is always super helpful.
Yeah. And I also think it's funny that people think, oh, like you've been riding for so long, why do you need lessons?
For the husbands, okay, do this one when your husband asks you, because everybody knows that the quarterbacks in football have a quarterback coach. And I'm pretty sure that guy knows how to play football, but every position has a coach. And the coaches have coaches. And why is that? If they're getting paid $40 million to throw the ball, you'd think he'd know how. Why does he have a coach? And so that's what I've used as an argument when people ask.
That's a good one.
Yeah, was that? Yeah, because I got so sick of people talking about it. And I was like, oh, yeah, here you go.
Right. I mean, to do anything well, you're always learning. Like, that's what's so fun about riding and horses. You're never done. You're never like, oh, okay, I've got it figured out. You're always learning something, and it makes it really fun. But I think it's also important, and I know that Herman and I both do this, that you prioritize your education. Because if you're not getting help, you're not improving. I mean, you're just not. And at least when I'm not getting help, I start to get frustrated. And
my father said it like this: you're either getting better or you're getting worse, because it's never going to stay the same. And so if you're not working on getting better, by default, you have to be getting worse, because everything isn't change. It's either one direction or the other. And so when you say that about the education, and that's why we go see our coach on a regular basis. So that's why we've got a library up here of books of the masters. And we're always trying to improve, because the other option is not good.
Yeah. And that's what Strides is about. Strides is a commitment to your education and a commitment to getting the help you need, because we've trained a lot of horses. We've worked with a lot of students. And so it saves you time, and it gives you a leg up. Like, when you can submit your video and we can tell you, like, this is exactly what you need to focus on. I have some students that are like, how can you see that? Like, how can you see that so fast and figure it out? It's like experience, right? And that's what you're paying for. That's what we pay for when we go ride with an Olympic coach, is we're paying for that experience to learn something new and to help save us time and struggle of doing it alone. So education is very valuable. It's a super important investment in yourself and in your horse. And it's really important to get you towards your goals. Like, when I write out my goals and I'm like, okay, how am I going to get there? I have to get help. I need to get lessons. I need to watch the top riders. I need to watch top horses. Like, that's the only way that you're going to get better. And Strides is a program that I started it, I think, during COVID, I think in 2020. And I really refined it and tweaked it to figure out the right mix of education, community, and support. So it's a holistic program that gives you everything really that you need. So let me see if I can show you. You haven't seen the inside of Strides. And we have a new platform. So I hope you can all see this. This is our new learning platform. And it's at ameliasdressageacademy.com, which is very exciting. When I started doing courses, we were on a platform called Teachable. And so this is like all of ours. So this is what it looks like inside of Strides. When you join, you can see here's rider mindset. And so at the beginning of every month, you get new content. This is the content and the exercises for this month. So there's groundwork, there's rider position, there's the I will exercise, there's me talking about my mindset after a show, there's me riding Luigi on a tough day, there's a laid back horse and a hot horse. So there's a big variety of exercises to try. You'll also get access to some of the past content. So you'll get Ride the Horse You Have, Make and Measure Your Progress. That was December. And you'll also get half halts made simple. So I know many of you have questions about half halts. This is a great way to get some exercises to focus on your half halt. So this is a look inside of Strides. And like I mentioned, Sunday's the last day. So if you want to try it out, be sure to sign up before Sunday. You can always try it out and cancel if it doesn't work for you, if you feel like it's not helpful. But I think that you will find it to be helpful. Let me see if we have any other questions.
Well, there was Carol who had not set goals, and she's way up there. Was way back,
someone
back.
hadn't set goals
and didn't know how to start, and so just send her to the.
Yeah, so I would watch the webinar.
Right, just watch that webinar. I don't know how to send her to it.
We'll put the link in the chat. Joellen's in the back end putting links in the chat. So I would watch the goal setting webinar.
Because it's a how to do that.
Yeah.
Step-by-step deal.
But I also think if you don't know where to start, you have to really, like I always start by dreaming a little bit, like dreaming if I could have the best year ever, or if I could achieve my dream, what does that look like? And then once you think about like, what's the ultimate thing that you want to achieve in your riding and with your horse? And then start there. And then kind of work your way back and decide how important is that to you? Because it needs to be meaningful and it needs to be really inspiring and important to you. Because it's going to be hard work. Like if you want to achieve great things in your riding, it is going to require dedication, grit, determination. It's not going to like just be.
It just doesn't happen. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. But I also think that that's why we have horses. And I talked about this in the webinar too, is we're all so passionate about horses. And it allows us to endure a lot of suffering. I told you that earlier, right?
Yeah.
Like all the crap that we go through for our horses.
I say that all the time. I mean, my life would be so much simpler if all I did have the horses, if I didn't love the horses, because they tell me what I'm going to do with my time and my money.
Yeah. But I also think that when we have horses, when we have these big goals, like that's what gets you up in the morning and that's what gets you excited and inspired about life.
Right. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Right. And so that's where I always start with my goals. And I do think it's important to have something in mind, even if you don't get there. And a lot of times that's what happens. When I looked back, and I always write down my goals and then I post them here in my office. And when I looked back at, like I set 4 or 5 different goals for different areas of my life, I achieved about 60, 70% of them. And so I didn't look at that as like, oh my God, I failed. I looked at that as like, I did a lot last year. I mean,
and there's still stuff to do.
Yeah. And
we're just not finished yet.
Right. And that's what keeps me getting up at 5 a.m. every morning and going to the barn every day is that goal and working towards it and the journey of it. Not necessarily like I did it because you achieve your goal and then you're like, okay, what's next? But I think it's really important to have it. Okay, let's answer some questions in the chat. If any of you have questions, put them in the chat. The first question is from EG Barrel Racing. How do I build hind quarter muscles without overworking?
You're going to need to bring your experience to bear. When you're working, because transitions for starters, right? So you do transitions. And how many transitions and for how long? You're on your horse. You see your horse. You have to feel when the fatigue is coming and then not.
Yeah. And so lots of
every horse is in a different stage of fitness.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so having no idea where your horse is, and you've had your horse for a while, so transitions are a great way to do it. But 10 minutes, 30 minutes, I can't tell you that.
Yeah. It's the same as like our fitness, you know, you have to,
right,
if you haven't been to the gym in a year,
don't go hard.
You should be talking. You need to build up slowly. Don't go all in and then not be able to walk the next day. Give yourself, and also give your horse lots of walk breaks. Walk breaks are super important to give their muscles a chance to recover. Okay, next question is from Coyote Creek Ranch. She says, I'm still working on getting a video set up to be able to see it and even do a lesson. So yeah, a couple of tips about video setup. Most of, like, if you want to submit a video in Strides, it doesn't have to be perfect quality. A lot of times, like, we've even had students just put their cell phones like on the fence rail, and of course it's better if it's like good quality, but even if we can just see little glimmers of your riding and you can tell us what's happening, we can give you pretty good feedback. So make do with what you have.
Right. You set your phone up, you see where you could make a circle, and you get on that circle and make transitions in both directions.
Yeah. Or
if just try and stay in the frame, right? When you look at your camera and you can see what's in the frame.
Yeah.
Put some cones out and mark off that frame and stay inside the frame.
Yeah. Or convince your lovely husband to come and film you for 5 minutes. That can help. All right. Okay, Carol, where do we find the exercises? So the exercises for Strides are on ameliasdressageacademy.com. That's where you will log in to see the monthly exercises. And the Piaffe in hand. So I am doing a webinar at the end of January about how to train your horse to Piaffe in hand. That should be a fun one.
Wait, you went right past the one somebody said I was funny.
Yeah, Shannon says you're funny.
I don't know exactly what I was saying. It was funny, but I like being funny.
Okay, let me see if we've missed any other questions. Okay, walking up and down hills. That's a good one to build your horse's hindquarters.
Yeah, backing them up is good too.
Yes, those are all really good suggestions. Let me see if there's any other questions. I'm scrolling through. How often are we allowed to send in videos? So in Strides, you can send in 1 video per month, but you can also come and watch all of the office hours, which is really, really
informative. Yeah, there's just a lot of information there because you're watching other people either having the same problem you are or slightly different, or when you're going to have in 3 months.
Yeah.
Or when you already had and you go, oh, I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yes. The football quarterback coach. Right. You just, yeah.
Yes. That was funny. That was
and it has stopped every argument ever since. And it just, it ends right there.
That's good. That. See, I think that's why important that you're like a male in this female dominated sport. So you can like identify a little more with the male side of things. So anyways, we hope to see you inside of Strides. Like I mentioned, Sunday's the last day and Strides is only open once per year. So this is your chance to get in Strides and to help us, to let us help you reach your goals in the year ahead. It's going to be a really exciting year. We have a lot of great content. I'm bringing in more guest speakers to Strides. We're bringing in some animal behaviorists, hopefully some judges. And we're also starting some new programs to build community. For those of you who are in Strides, we're building Strides circle groups where you're going to make a little group with some other Strides members. So it's really a fun program. And yeah, we're incorporating more teaching videos. Herman did some teaching videos today for our pirouette exercises. That was
went
fun.
off really well.
Herman likes to mime when he is teaching. So I got some of that on camera, which is very funny when he tries to act like a horse. Okay, let's see. Barb says, how can I tell if I'm a beginner? I think, how can you tell if you're a beginner? That's a good question. Like, how do you decide if you're beginner
or intermediate or
advanced? I think
pain.
I don't know. It's a really interesting question because I think some people overestimate themselves.
And some underestimate themselves.
Right. So it's not, I always think that it's kind of the proof is in the pudding. Like, what can you get out there and do? If you can get your horse.
I'm thinking if you can walk, trot, and canter,
You're probably intermediate.
Yeah, you're
I would
probably,
say.
If you're getting up to that,
Yeah.
walk, trot, canter, lengthen strides,
Yeah.
little shoulder innie, you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really good point. If you feel confident getting on, riding, walk, trot, canter, I would say you're intermediate. If you don't, you're beginner. If you're advanced, I would say is like third level and above. If you can, do a flying change, if you're starting to really work on the collection, that's what I would say is advanced. But sometimes it might change based on a different horse. Like you might have a horse that you are advanced on, and then you have a young horse that
Right, that you're like, oh boy, yeah, and it starts all over again.
So some horses definitely make you look better than others.
Then there's somebody that had a question I think is important too. Is having more than one trainer at a time good or bad? Well, in the beginning, I don't think it's useful to have more than one. I think you really need to be quite solid so that you've followed a plan, right? And you've learned some rules, and then because you're going to hear some things that are the same, some things are a little bit different, some things are going to be a little contradictory, and you're better off having a really good foundation before you start overlapping some things, because some things you're just going to dismiss right out of hand. Some things you'll accept, and if too many chefs spoil the soup.
Yeah.
So, but if you've got a lot of riding done, then you can take from I had a coach tell me, he goes, you take from everybody, and then you find it your own way.
Yeah. But I think strides is a really good complement if you do have a trainer, because for one, in strides, we do theory lectures every single month. And that's something that you don't often get enough in a lesson, because in a lesson, your trainer needs to tell you like, do this, do that, more leg, turn, bend. And the theory is taking you off of your horse, where you can really focus on like the terminology and why is inside leg to outside rein important. And so,
and then when you go to apply those aids, you're clearer because you have a good foundation of the theory.
Right. And that's one of the big benefits to like what people say about why my videos and the YouTube videos are so helpful, is because they're watching them in the comfort of their home, and where they can really focus on the explanation of the exercise or the explanation of the aids. Because let's face it, when you're on your horse, you're thinking about your horse and what's going on around you, and like just trying to survive sometimes. So it can be really hard to focus and listen to instruction when
everything's happening so fast.
Right. And
whether it's going well or bad or scary, it's just, there's a lot going on.
And since we all have limited time in the saddle, right? You can only ride your one horse.
Right. You would learn faster if you could ride 10 horses a day, but you can't ride your horse like it's 10 horses.
I always think it's funny when you say that.
I got that from Dennis Callan.
That's a good one. But the online learning helps maximize your time in the saddle, because if you only can ride 45 minutes, 4 days a week, but you're studying, you're visualizing, you're learning the theory, you're exercising the other 3 to 4 days, then that's going to make the most of the limited time that you have in the saddle. And I think pretty much all of our students watch the videos. I know some of the trainers in our community send the videos to their students, which is always just I feel very honored. Thank you to you trainers that recommend my videos to your students. But it does really help them, because they'll come to their lesson and be like, oh yeah, I watched that video that Amelia did. And it's like suddenly they understand the exercise. So then we can just help them implement it. We don't have to explain the aids and everything else. So yeah, all good reasons to join Strides. Like I said, Sunday's the last day. The link is in the chat. It's amelianewcomb-dressage.com/strides. If you want to sign up, you can either pay monthly or you can pay for the whole year. And
and that's that last question there is, can you come and go?
Yes. So yeah, you can leave whenever you want. So if you try it out and you're like, this isn't for me, we will give you your money back in the first 15 days, but then you can cancel at any time. So like if your horse goes lame or something comes up, you can cancel. But we only open it once a year. So you can't come back in whenever you want. And we do that because we really want to take the new group of students and yes, introduce them to everything, make sure everyone is welcome and oriented, because there is a lot inside of Strides. There's a lot of different activities, programs, live sessions, recorded sessions. So yeah. Anyways, happy Thursday. I'm going to take Levi on a walk.
Is Carol asking us what time time zone we're in?
We are in Pacific time, but all of the sessions and Strides are recorded. We do them at different times. Some are in the evening, some are
the
middle
office
of the
hours
day.
are at different times.
Yeah. So it's yeah, it's all good. And I think that's everything.
Okay.
All right. Good night, everyone.